adults will get more than kids because, well, it does have a few more adult themes in it. I mean, even their marketing for their special features, they did like a freaking nude, or it's like all the characters with their clothes off shots, and it's like
I didn't see that, thank goodness.
it was on the DVD a while back, and it just or there you don't see anything, but it's or they basically it's very suggestive.
Well,
Let's
I
just
thought
say
it
that.
was, I just thought it was, I don't know. It just seems like I haven't seen anything really uh, as good as Pixar about being able to cover more bases than we've been seeing from other movie studios. I'm
Yeah.
talking about overall, uh, interest from adults at all different ages and children. So,
Hmm.
and that is rare these days. So
Oh yeah.
Pixar's been pretty good at it. Well, this came out in 2004, so I haven't seen any of their newest movies yet. Was that new Toy Story one by them?
Yeah, that
Yeah,
but
I didn't go
Lightyear.
see it just simply because some of the stuff people have told me about it, so I didn't even risk going so I wouldn't tarnish my point of view on other movies they've made.
Yeah. Honestly, Lightyear and Toy Story 4 were never going to be watched by me because one, Toy Story 3 had the perfect ending to completely close out the entire universe. And
Hmm.
Lightyear isn't a Toy Story movie, so it's like no need to go watch that. Also, they marketed it completely the wrong way.
Yeah,
But yeah,
from what
go
I
ahead.
saw in the trailer, and from what a few people said about this, because I wouldn't let them tell me too much about the movie, it seemed more like the character from the toy that was in
Yeah.
the Toy Story movie, the background, from the commercials and things.
Yeah, they were basically telling his origin story, and
Yeah,
it's like,
his origins. That's it.
we really don't need to know the origin. We don't really care. This nobody asked for this.
Well, it doesn't matter. It seems like for some reason movie theaters and Hollywood are thinking that they know better than us about what's into entertainment and not worrying about whether we're going to buy a ticket. They just worry about saying, well, if this is all they have, then they're going to pay to come see it. And that's where they're wrong because you're getting more and more independent films being made and independent, channels like this one, on YouTube, but you can go and get some kind of entertainment and not have to pay some moron that's trying to shove their point of view down your throat, you know.
Exactly.
So it's good to have some different outlets, and I'm really thinking it's great, and I'm taking advantage of it.
Hmm. So, The Incredibles has Craig T. Nelson and a few other known names. It had some great, or it has an animated short called Jack Jack Attack attached to it because it explains a certain situation that goes on in the movie about
Mhm.
Jack Jack with the babysitter. And oh
Yeah, it
my
was
God,
adorable. Oh, I love
he
that.
puts that babysitter through the ringer.
But the whole concept of the baby being that powerful, it was
Yeah.
like taking almost every character that we saw in the movie, from the other ones that come in, uh,
Hmm.
and putting them all in one. And
Yeah.
that's how he's like superpower. I mean, he's like Homelander or something
Yeah. He
in
can
in a
burst into
toddler form.
flames. He could burst into flames. He could turn himself solid lead.
He had
He has
laser eyes
laser eyes,
and he could
and
fly.
he could turn in. He could float. He could fly.
Yeah,
Yeah, and he could turn into like a little
a lead
imp,
weight.
an imp monster, and lead weight. Yep,
Yeah, so he was
completely
just it
solid.
just we never really got to find out exactly all his powers, but it just seemed like
Yeah.
he had pretty much everything you could think of. And
Hmm.
it was hilarious getting to watch him go after that raccoon because it had bandit eyes, like it was a bandit. So I just thought
Yeah.
it was adorable. The whole
I think
thing
that
was
was in the
so
second movie.
yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
mean though in the second movie, but that whole concept of the of showing us
Just
his
what he can do.
yeah, what he's capable of. We don't even know for sure if they make a movie later on with just the three kids,
Yep.
going out on their own or whatever, or something that might be entertaining if it's a good script. But he's got enough to work with simply from what they've injected into the two movies, and in
Hmm.
the little shorts that they've made attached to the DVDs.
Oh yeah.
That has been very fun. So we'll
Yeah.
see. But
So
yeah,
The
I really like this
Incredibles,
movie.
yeah, The Incredibles starts basically with let me get my points up here. They start with a montage of interviews with Mr. Incredible, Frozone, and Elastigirl talking about their secret identities. It's like, do you have a secret identity? Every hero has a secret identity.
Hmm.
How else do you think we stay sane? I mean, essentially.
Yeah, it's like a little flashes through time, showing you what different things that they did and how the people slowly turned against them.
Yeah, the whole beginning where Mr. Incredible's driving down the road in a tux,
In
and
a
it's
teeny
like,
tiny car.
yeah, in this nice little sports get up car, and then he's
Oh,
like, he hears about a pursuit. Yeah, I got time. Time for what? Superhero stuff, you know. And Craig T. Nelson does wonderful job with the voice of Mr. Incredible.
yeah, I didn't even picture his face. I mean, it was
Yeah.
because a lot of times when you watch any of these type of movies, you really try to get into the character, and it's hard because you can't get past the great acting or the actor or that's playing the voice. So you picture them and their face doesn't match it. You know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
he was able to portray this character to a T, I think.
Oh yeah, indeed. I mean, when I watch this, I don't see Craig T. Nelson. I just see Mr. Incredible.
Yeah, me
That's the
too.
wonderful thing about this movie. All of
Yeah.
the characters have a real face in real life, but you can't picture it. You're
No,
picturing just the characters.
yeah, it didn't take away from even the what was the little lady's name? The one that
Edna
made the
Mode,
yeah, Edna.
who was
Even
actually the director doing the voice for her. It was a guy doing a voice for Edna.
oh, it was genius. It
Hmm.
did very good. It reminded me of some famous fashion
Actress.
designer. No, fashion
Oh,
designer. I think it was Vera Wang or somebody like that. That she reminded me of her character. About the style and the cuts and the colors.
oh
When
yeah.
she was talking about the costumes.
Yep. Also, her design, oh, her short stature, her haircut
Hmm.
is very resembles Linda Hunt, the
Oh
actress
yeah, that's
is
right. That
who
is
plays
right.
Hetty in CSI or
Hmm.
NCISLA, and it's like that is the perfect. I mean, that is just the perfect character, but she's over the top in this, and
It was
it's so great.
excellent. They did a very good job. Whoever casted these people for these voices,
Yeah,
they did a really good job in that part of the uh, you know planning for the movie, because you have these people already picked out and ready to go before you even you know put the movie all together, because they usually film the whole cartoon and everything and then put the voices in as
yeah,
the character watches their scenes and stuff like that. So it's
yeah.
very good. I think they did very good. The editing was I couldn't find any flaws in the editing.
Not really, no. And so we see Mr. Incredible doing some heroics, getting saving a cat from a tree, stopping a pursuit,
Yeah.
and then saving a dude that was about to or that jumps off a building.
Hmm.
He's like, I think you broke something. Well, with therapy, I think you'll come to forgive me. And each one of these incidences comes at a cost later or right afterward. I mean, heroics and aside, it's like, uh-oh. So then we get an introduction to the only major supervillain other than the character later on, Bomb Voyage, who
Uh-huh.
is this French pirate or French explosives nut job that looks like a mime. And I'm
Yeah.
like, could you pick the most I don't know, commonly French archetype for a
Yeah,
villain?
the one thing you could tell just from the small part, within 25 minutes of the movie, you can definitely tell I didn't see a single thing that I would consider woke in it. because they're
No.
making fun of everybody, men, women,
Oh yeah.
races, uh, the tragic thing of, criminals getting hurt or people falling, just every little detail was so far from woke. uh, you never even thought about it. And when you go back and you watch it again years later, it's like, what happened? That's all I could think of. I was like, what happened to this kind of entertainment in our industry
Exactly.
today? It's heartbreaking because I want to sit down and I want to watch a movie that I can get into the characters, sit back, enjoy, laugh, root for the hero, all those things. And you just can't do that anymore. But this
Mm,
movie, you definitely can. This movie pulls you in because you love them. You want to see them be successful. And that's what entertainment is supposed to be. It's supposed to make you believe the characters. Even if they're cartoon, you can still believe in them.
mhm. And we also see that Buddy, this little kid that idolizes Mr. Incredible, calls himself Incrediboy,
Mhm.
is or wanted to or is his number one biggest fan. And Mr. Incredible ejects him out of the car to and stops the guy that's about to jump. Also, he runs into Elastigirl, who is in the interviews in the beginning. She's
Mhm.
like, "Why would I want to settle down? I'm at the top of my game. Come on, ladies, you want to leave the saving of the world to the men? I don't think so." I mean, nowadays, if you really have those woke glasses on, you would consider that woke, but it's like, no, that's just she's high on her success. She wants to really she wants to really make a thing in it or make a splash in the superhero world, and
Yeah,
she does a
because
great job.
it was already showing. See, this is where I keep seeing so many things that just jerks me off really bad. I mean, it makes me mad.
Hmm.
Is that they constantly say how there's not enough representation of women in movies, in leads, whatever it is, different things like that. But if you go back and you look at uh, very incredible, powerful women in some of these movies, even this cartoon, you got two of them right off the bat. You
Yep,
have the
you got
mom and the
the
daughter
mom and the daughter. Yeah.
right off the bat, and it's just sad, and they did a great job at their character arcs, each character learning from their mistakes and coming full circle. And it's like none of these people today watch any movies
That I know.
from the
They
past.
love to make these complaints. I
Yeah, it's
mean,
just amazing.
one of the thing or I'm a movie person that I've kind of did some studying on movie history and whatnot. A lot of people love to say that they're only starting to do LGBTQ representation today and a few years ago, and I'm like, you've been doing that for over 100 years. Where have you been?
Yeah.
I mean, the very first movie in major TV was that had any LGBTQ representation was Vengarn from 1916. So it's like
Mhm.
104 years or 106 years. Yeah, we're in
I mean, like,
2022
look
now.
at Birdcage, and then you got
Yeah.
Victoria. I mean,
Yep.
you can go through, and these were movies that were popular and that, weren't flops at the box office and got nominated for awards and had tons of gays and lesbians and stuff
Hmm.
in them. So I don't, that's what I'm trying to say is I just don't understand how you have so many people blindly walking around believing these other people saying that there's no women represented in movies or there's no gays or there's no lesbians. I mean, it just I don't know where they're coming from because if you watched any movies at all growing up, you would know as an adult today that there's no way they can say that and be factual because it isn't factual.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
they actually tried to do that with Incredibles too. They made the more focus on Elastigirl.
Hmm.
Now, would I consider it absolute woke? No. However, they do kind of make the boys more inept in that one. To be completely honest, they do. But I wouldn't say that it was bash you over the head with it.
Well, it was to me from what I got from watching it, even the first time I watched it. You got a wife, okay? She's excellent at her job, but she quits her job to raise her children. okay, which
Mhm.
happens every day around the world, okay? And the
Yep.
husbands go out and they earn the bacon, they come home and they just want to put their feet up and have a drink and watch their favorite show, okay? Well, they basically took that and put it into a superhero family where the mom is superpowers and the dad and the children are learning that they have different things and how to use them and everything. But the thing is that she is ready to come out of being just a mom and a housewife again. She wants to get back in the limelight and the excitement of getting to use her actual talents to stop crime, because
Yeah.
it's kind of hard for any person to be the top of their game, a lawyer, a doctor, or whatever, and then have to step down and give it all up just to raise a family, because most men don't have to do that. Now, I do personally, I know a lot of men that have done that, and the wife is the one that makes
Is
most
the
of the money.
bacon or is the
And
breadwinner?
so
Yeah.
it does happen. But what was funny and how this works so well in this movie is the fact that you got Mr. Incredible, sitting in his car waiting for anything to do, because it's gotten so rare that he's
Yeah.
able to do it because he has to do it in hiding.
Yeah.
But he's leaving his wife at home to have to do all these things. So when she ends up getting this offer to do some of the things, he just kind of like, well, he starts having to step in and be a little bit more hands-on with his children.
Yep.
And that's what made the movie uh family believable to me,
Yeah.
because I don't know how anyone can, even a single man or a single woman growing up, uh, saw that in their own family with their brothers, sisters, their parents, their grandparents, or whatever. You saw that type of behavior in your own lives. So it doesn't make it so outlandish that you would think, oh, this is bullshit, because
Yeah.
it's got lots of reality rolled up into each of the characters.
Mhm.
And the way that the writing I thought was really good, but it was like a Holly Hunter, just the way she articulates herself, like when she's flicking her hair,
Oh yeah.
and making sure she's verbalizing all these different characteristics for her character.
Mhm.
And I think all of them did such an excellent job being able to watch themselves on screen as they voice their lines. And I'm sure they did some ad libbing, because I don't see how they couldn't.
Oh,
Uh,
definitely there was ad libbing.
but it was just phenomenal. I thought the detail that the director, everyone that was involved in this, I think they did a great job at picking everyone. I mean, I bet they were even picky when they got Crafty to come in.
Yeah.
It just seems phenomenal choices that these people made for all the details, for the cartoonists, the colorists, the music. I just really had a hard time this time watching it, trying to find bad stuff.
No.
Looking
There
for something
honestly there wasn't really anything bad about this movie.
I thought it was really, really well made and
Oh
very
yeah.
entertaining.
And also one of the things I really liked about this movie is that the kids could handle themselves, but they also had to have that learning curve,
Mhm.
especially when they or after everything goes awry in the first like 20 minutes. We're
Yeah.
superheroes. What could happen? Well, all the superheroes are getting sued. Now they all
Everybody
have to,
hates them.
yeah, they have, or it's like, hey, I saved your life. You didn't save my life. You ruined my death. That's like,
Yeah.
then why are you suing? I mean, if you just, or if you really want to die so bad, just jump off another building. But I mean, I'm not, folks, before I go any further, I am not condoning or endorsing any sort of suicidal tendencies. I do want to make that clear before we go further. But there is a moment in this movie where a guy sues the superhero for ruining his suicide.
That's what I mean. Little details like that you would never see in a movie today.
No, you
No,
wouldn't.
it
And
just would never. They would never. Not even if somebody came in with a script with something like that in it, they would laugh them out of the place.
yeah, I mean, it's like, we can't do that. That's too insensitive. It's like, but why? But anyway, so then we have them 15 years later. Uh, Mr. Incredible's let himself go. He's a bigger
Yeah.
guy. His facial structure even changed. I mean,
he looked down and out.
Yeah,
He looked down and out, like, he didn't want to get up and shave or take a shower. He had
no,
no will to live, and that's why
he's just living a dead end job.
yeah, he's at a job he hates. He hates his life, and when he
Yeah,
goes in his room, in his office, and he's looking at all his things,
he
that's what makes
realizes
him
it's like
happy, and it
he
makes him
wants to
reminisce
relive
about
those days.
what he wanted in his life that he's missing out on.
Yeah,
And that's realistic to me.
yeah. I mean, who
I
doesn't
love
want to
Soul
relive the
Assassin.
glory days when you had a past that you actually enjoyed?
Yeah, and that's what it was. He was looking back to his glory days because now he's got a dad bod. He's still super
Yep.
strong and he can still do things, but he's just out of shape because he hasn't been doing anything.
I mean, I love how that's like the news montage says, "Where are they now? They are living among us, helping people one person at a time." Denied? You're denying my claim? He works for an insurance company called InsureCare, and he denies this poor old lady her claim. If you can't help me, I don't know what I'm gonna do. So he gives her the ins and outs of the entire business. He's like, I cannot tell you to go to this thing, go to our legal, yada yada yada. And it's like he gives
Because
her,
he's a good man and he didn't want
yeah,
to hurt this woman. And
he wanted
that
to help
shows
her
he's
absolutely,
sensitive.
yeah. And
So
he's like, I'm sorry, ma'am. I know you're upset. Pretend to be upset. Get out of here.
yeah.
I
I just
love
thought
it.
that was a really good scene.
Yeah. And his boss reminds me so much of like this evil version of Rick Moranis, but played by a different voice actor who I know. I can't remember his name though.
I'm trying to remember I'm trying to look at the picture real quick.
Sorry, had a
motorcycle? I don't see it on this list.
Sorry about that.
I've got. I'm trying to find his bosses who voiced the boss.
Voice
I'm not on the.
cast.
Yeah, I already have it out
The
here.
Incredibles. It was Wallace Shawn who plays Gilbert Humph, who is the his boss.
Oh, yeah, his demeaning boss, the one who's always putting him down, make him, because see, that's realistic too. See, even details like that is what made this movie good for grown-ups on top of the children, because it goes right over the children's head. But who hasn't had a job as a teenager or working for your uncle or your grandparents or at a local business where they talk down their nose at you? Because you don't know what you're talking about. And if you don't listen to me, you're never going to learn this job, blah, blah, blah. So that detail of his boss being, what's that word I'm trying to think of? Taking his manliness away from him.
Demasculizing.
Yeah, demasculizing him because he is Mr. Incredible. Okay.
Yeah.
He doesn't know that he is, but Mr. Incredible can't do anything about it because he's not supposed to, give away his secret identity.
Yeah.
So, he's stuck and he hates it. He hates where he is in his life. And it's believable, even though it's a cartoon, everyone watching, especially the grown-ups, understand that, man, it sucks to be where he's at. I'm glad I'm not in his shoes, that kind of thing.
And I love when he gets home, or before he gets home, his wife calls him, and then she has to go to the school because Dash is acting out.
Yeah.
And the scene where he puts a tack on the kids, I love how they show on the TV. They show when he's doing the video, you actually see Dash move in the video.
Yeah.
But then when he says he moves right there, you don't see it. But then he's like, "What, you didn't see? Right there." Yeah. And when he does it the second time, you actually do see the shadow movement of Dash when he does his speed.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know how to explain it. Coincidence? I think not. And when his face just shoots right into the camera, for some reason when I watch that, I'm thinking, why does he look like a fish?
But yeah, you're right though. See that is just little. I don't know. To me,
it was cute.
Yeah, it was cute, but it was a typical boy.
Yeah, he's acting out. He knows he can do these things, and and his mother helps him get away with it. She essentially does.
Yes.
And
That's
he's
what a
like,
mom would do to
yeah,
try to help her son, not get in trouble and, but wanna encourage him because he is a superhuman,
yeah.
and
And
he's
she
not
tells
allowed
him,
to use his powers. So how is he supposed to excel in his
yeah.
life when he's being told he can't be himself, and you know what I mean? And that's
Hmm.
one thing I liked about it too, is that, both the parents encourage their children to, be who they are, and you just got to be very careful that no one sees you doing these things because it can get us in trouble.
Well,
But,
at first, the mother doesn't want them to use their power, and
yeah,
Violet, she rarely uses her powers except at home,
yeah,
and that's
because
one of
she
the
sees
things
it
she
as a
says.
burden.
Yeah, she thinks it's, or she's more of a freak than anything,
Yeah, she
and
thinks of herself that way, and which is what I loved about it is because you have, the brother that, he's all gangbuster like dad, he just wants to
yep,
kick some booty or whatever, and then the sister is like, "I just wish I didn't have this so I could just be a normal girl and go to the mall and hang out with my friends," that kinda thing, and, I just thought it was adorable
yeah,
because 'cause I'm a mom myself,
yeah,
and, I definitely, I just thought it was the cutest thing ever, and I just thought they did such a great job at making them seem like real kids, the
hmm,
things that they were doing, and then her having her first love, where she
yeah,
meets a boy and have a little romance in there. I just thought that was cute, and the kid that they got to play, uh, the boyfriend's character, I thought they did the whole thing really good, even when he gets his mind wiped, later
yeah.
on.
That's yeah. Later on in the second one, yeah,
So yeah, later on in the second movie when he's doesn't know who she is, or I just thought that that you could tell when they made the second one that the same people were involved in it because the quality didn't go down, which normally happens when you see the second movie. But I didn't think the second movie would be very good because you can't top almost perfection to me for
yeah,
considering it was a cartoon. Um,
yeah.
but I loved it. I just thought it was so good. And I hate to say this, but people think I'm mean for it, but I thought it was better than Toy Story
Oh, it is.
personally.
I'll fully admit that. It's
Yeah.
Toy Story was early on, so of course,
Mhm.
or this one is later on, like 10 years later, and it's actually a much better. It's better story.
Yeah,
Honestly, it's better story in my opinion,
I
as
think
well
so
as better
too.
graphics.
I thought that
So
it was excellent writing.
yeah, and
Very good.
Mr. Incredible Bob gets home, slips on the or coming out of the car, slips on the skateboard, ends up uh crimping the metal on the top of the door, and he
Yeah.
can't close the door, so he smashes it. Well, now he's broken the window, and he's like, "Oh God! Oh, that's it." Picks up the car with the kid, or with one of the neighbor kids, looking at him like,
Watching the
"What?"
whole thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, and he's like freaking out because he can't realize this guy,
yeah.
it's got he's very strong and is he
Is
special?
he? Yeah. And then he gets in there, and it's the normal kind of really tense dinner, and Jack's getting fed by mom, making faces, and freaking it bothers Dash, and he's like, "Ma, you're making weird faces again." No, I'm not. You make weird faces, honey. Do you have to read that table? Yeah, I do. But
Yeah.
it's some sort of semblance to try to be normal, but it ends up becoming, well, less normal because Dash provokes his sister,
Uh-huh.
and
Well,
then
the thing is, in real life,
that's how it
how
is.
many I mean, I grew up in a family where we had to, we sat at the table, we had to say grace, and then when we were finished eating, we had to clean our area off and carry all our stuff into the kitchen, and put it in the
Hmm.
sink. So, today you just got people plopping down in front of the TV and just eating and not, most some sitting on the floor, some sitting on the couch or whatever. It's more lax. There's not the family traditional, dining at the dinner table and having, uh, family time basically, because
Yeah.
today everybody's got a phone under their nose and nobody talks. You can have a whole room full of people and nobody's looking at each other. So I don't know, I just love the whole, it I don't know, it brought back so many memories of when I was younger, getting to watch it again because I just I really even thought it was better than the first time I watched it. I hate to say that. I mean, if it sounds stupid or
No,
really
it's because it's more
uh
refreshing.
yeah, it was very it just made me wish that we could just drop some of the stuff and go back to just entertaining people because it was a very entertaining story. Having a villain, it comes back years later because he blames uh, Mr.
Mr. Incredible
Incredible for
for his
his horrible life. And he's a
yeah.
genius, you know, because he's an evil genius type of person, which always works as a villain when he comes
Yep.
to this with superheroes. It fits right in. So it was a fun movie too.
I also like Samuel L. Jackson's Frozone character in this,
Yeah,
where
he was good.
he and Bob go out to moonlight as heroes again, and he's like, let's just do what our wives think we're doing. Well, then they go save people from a fire, and it's too hot, so he can't lay down any ice. And then they bust into the opposite or the building next to him, which is a jewelry store.
Yeah.
I love that. It's like I just want a drink. Okay, you had your drink. I know. Freeze. Now, if you look at the cop in the ice, you can actually see his eyes are still moving, so he's alive, and
Yeah.
that's how they did it back then. There are character deaths in this, like some bad guys smash into walls, kind of big blow up, so you don't see the death.
Yeah.
But they didn't harm cops, which is good to know, or which is good to see. Back
Well,
when
it was
cops were respected.
yeah, there was I don't know, it was a family friendly points of view on not having lots of gore
Yeah.
and blatant in your face people's getting their limbs chopped off or getting blown up. It was more discreet about the things, and in that aspect it went back to the grown-ups of understanding what was going on, but the small kids, they didn't know. They just knew that it was action and the bad guys were trying to do something bad, you know. So
Yep.
I just like that whole interaction with you could tell that Mr. Incredible and Frozone
Elastic
was
or
really
frozen.
good friends, and that because he was getting in trouble with his wife every time he snuck out because she knew he
Yep.
was doing
Because she
something he wasn't
comes.
supposed to.
Yeah, he
And
comes
they did
back.
good for her voice and stuff too. I'm trying to say what was her name. Um,
Her name is
oh, let me look at
Holly Hunter.
yeah, no, not that wife,
Oh,
Mr. Frozone's
Frozone's
wife.
wife,
Yeah, I'm trying to find her real quick. Yeah,
Kimberly
Kimberly
Adair
Clark.
Clark. Yeah,
Yeah,
Kimberly Clark.
Honey, that was her name, and
Yep.
she did a phenomenal job voicing what I think would be a wife that's sick and tired of her husband doing shit, but she tells
Yep.
her not to.
Yeah.
I just thought it
Where's
was
my
funny.
super suit? What? Where is my super suit? Why do you need to know? I need it. Don't you think you're going off to do some daring do? We've been preparing this dinner for months. The public is in danger. My evening's in danger. You tell me where my suit is, woman. I love that. He pulls the manly man.
I know.
Like,
I
you
just
tell me
thought
where my suit is, woman.
it was great because it was totally opposite
Yeah.
of interaction with this husband and wife as it was with the Incredibles and their interaction. And I think it was because they didn't have kids right there watching them.
Yep.
So they let their own feelings out just a little bit more. But I just liked it because it showed two totally different men and how they dealt with their woman. You know what I mean? But
Oh,
to
yeah.
me, it wasn't degrading or you know, degrading for the women or anything like that because she was standing up for herself too. And that's what's funny is that you don't have arguments anymore where each person can just stand their ground and say what they want to say and everybody not choosing a side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everyone argues, you know, and everyone can't win, but it's none of your business when a man and a woman are arguing unless, you know, somebody's hurting somebody. But just because he's telling her, you know, that he doesn't like the choice that she made and she's telling him, well, it's none of your business or whatever, it doesn't mean that either one of them are wrong. It just means that they don't agree and they're trying to work it out in the way they do their
Know
own thing.
how. Yeah.
And that's what I really like, the realism of that, of showing us these two totally different men and the wives and how they interacted with each other. I thought that was definitely for the grown-ups, but there was way more stuff for grown-ups than I remembered when I watched it again, because I picked up on so many different things, like what I just said about the interaction between the two different husbands
Yeah.
with their wives.
Also with Mirage and how Helen thinks that Bob's having an affair
Oh yeah.
after he resumes or moonlights hero work after getting help from Edna. And the Edna mode scene. Hello, who are you? What do you want? My God, you've gotten fat. Okay, come on in.
Yeah, you're really good at her voicing her voice, because that sounded so much like her.
Yeah,
She
I
was
can
adorable
actually do a
character.
lot of different voices. I mean, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are tonight's entertainment. That's the Heath Ledger Joker. I
Yeah.
can do all sorts of different voices. My name's Stitch. Oh, how? But yeah, I could do a lot. But she helps him. She's like, or do not, or ask me now before I again become sane. Wait, you want to help me, or you want to make me a new suit? Oh, you push too hard, darling. But I accept. And so
Because she wants
yeah,
to go back to her glory days too, of being able to come up with all these really cool suits for these
outfits. Yeah,
superheroes, because each one of them has different powers, so she has to make the suit work for whoever is wearing it. Like
yep,
if it's Mr. Invisible or whatever that can disappear, his suit's got to be able to disappear without him running around naked.
yeah. And
Stuff like that. And you could tell she was really loved it and wanted him to do it again.
well, it's as she said, supermodels, nothing super about them. I used to design for gods.
Yeah.
And it's like, yes, you did. Because when she says it, or when she says it, it's believable.
Yeah, and that's how she really feels, though. And it comes
Yeah.
across, even though it's a cartoon, it comes across as a believable line from a person that really loved working with superheroes
Yep.
and looking at them as
Also the capes.
yeah, they
No
were
capes.
yeah. But she looked at them as just like she said, she looked at them as, they could be gods because they're so
Powerful.
different and unique,
Different,
and they can do so many things that we can't. And she
yeah.
loved being able to, to work with those people. So that definitely came across as a real a character that you knew felt how she felt about them, and wanted what was best for them. Basically, that's how
Yeah.
I felt when I watched it.
Oh yeah. And then he also brought his old super suit because it got damaged when he was fighting the robot the first time.
Yeah.
And he's like, I really just need the patch job, for sentimental reasons. Fine, I will also fix the hobo suit. She calls it a hobo suit. But I also do like when Syndrome comes in and he finally reveals himself. And Jason Lee, who does the voice of Syndrome, does it so well. I mean, he just reeks as a jilted fan,
Yeah, spoiled brat. That's what he, because he was a spoiled brat when he kept, getting in the way and causing Mr. Incredible to maybe hurt somebody really bad, because he was trying not to hurt this kid and hurt
Yeah.
others, because the kid was involving himself because he was spoiled brat, was used to getting what he wanted. But yeah, he did do a good job as a grown up and showing how he just wants to get revenge against someone, that whole arc for him, his character
whole arc is basically, I can be super without powers, and I'm going to take down all the supers in order to do it, in order to show them. And you find out in this movie, he's killed almost every super in order to prove it.
Mm-hmm.
He's created, or he's updated his robot time and time again against the supers, and he realizes they're all getting killed. And when Bob is infiltrating the place during the main crux of the movie, he searches Elastigirl, location unknown, so he could take a breath of fresh air because his family's not known by Syndrome yet. And then he's like, Frozone, location known, and it's like, okay, now I gotta warn him. But this is at the time where Edna or where Helen, Elastigirl, thinks he's having an affair and finds
Yeah,
out
because
he's
he's
not
become
on the
so
up and up.
secretive. And
Yeah.
plus, you got to remember, what'd you say earlier about him being down in the dumps and like same old routine? He's going to work and he's coming home and he's going to work and he's bored.
Yeah.
He's not enthusiastic about anything. And then all of a sudden, his wife notices that he's sneaking around. He's more active and more intrigued in something. Something's got him going. That's why she
He's losing
assumes,
weight.
yeah, he's trying to
He's
get
losing
in
weight.
better
He has a
shape.
yeah,
All those things, as all classic tales
of an
that he's
affair.
seeing someone else.
Yeah.
Because for whatever reason, that is one of the bad things in a relationship, and it hurts a lot of people, is that when people cheat, instead of just saying I want out and get out and not cheat, they for some reason they sneak around thinking they're not going to get caught or something. I don't know what people do, but that's what she was thinking, because she's a typical wife now and a mom.
And I love how Edna straightens her out. She's like, "What do I do? What are you talking about? What do you do? Is this even a question? You're Elastigirl. Pull yourself together. You must confront him, fight, win, and then come back because I enjoy our visits." I
Yes,
so
because
then
she was her friend.
yeah,
And she was trying
and
to make her realize that she could take care of it. She just had to quit feeling sorry for herself.
yeah, she basically gives her the smackdown of reality. And I love how there is a lot of reality checks in this movie, because even when they're going to the island, when Helen is trying to fly in, but then the kids turn up, so she now has to, she's like, okay, I want you to use your powers, but you said I know what I said. And then she has to check herself because she's losing her temper, and she's like, okay, you remember those cartoons you guys always used to watch on Saturday morning? Well, these bad guys aren't like those bad guys. They will kill you if you let them, if you give them the chance. She has to, or telling that to your kids, a
Yeah.
like 10 or 11-year-old and a 5 or 6-year-old,
Mhm.
telling them that if you are caught here, you will die. It you gotta or these kids are able to understand it because, well, they're supers and they know that their parents were a part of that world. But letting them know that, the reactions on their face, because the movie covers it very well, because they're like, you remember those cartoons? Yeah, that okay, I'm remembering a happier time. These people aren't like that. They will kill you. You see their smiles disappear real
Yes.
fast.
Mhm.
And you
It
also
was a
see
very, realistic life moment
mhm,
in the movie, to make you realize that, or make the kids realize that it's all or nothing, so you can't make any mistakes,
yep, use your
basically.
powers to their fullest.
That's right.
And Violet needed that, even because when she was asked on the plane, put a force field around the plane. I've never done one that big before, and she's failing and failing and failing. So she's trying in the cave later, and then she's finally able to do it at the great need where her brother was about to be shot. So she jumps in and she actually is able to do it perfectly.
Yes, because she loved him.
Yep. And
And
it's
see,
like,
that's another thing I just loved about this movie. It came across that you could see the love of a brother and a sister, even though they fought and bickered, okay?
mm-hmm,
But they were both willing to do what it took this to help their brother or sister, both characters. And
yep.
very family oriented, good circle arcs for both of them
Oh,
in
yeah.
this story. And I just love that they showed that and made it so realistic.
I mean, I even like her when they wake up in the jungle, he wakes
Yeah.
up kind of late. He's like, oh, yeah, ugh. And the cliche kid thing was like, oh, cooties. But then when it gets down to it, when the guy's about to shoot his sister, he just starts wailing on the bad guy. Don't touch my sister.
Yeah, but and plus that because of his superpower, he's able to, do something good, and
Mhm.
so is she. So
I
uh
also love how they're learning about their powers as they do it. Like, he didn't know he could run on water until he
yeah, he
actually
didn't
did
realize
it.
how fast he
He's like,
was. That's why.
he he actually takes. He's like, and he's about to turn, but he realizes he's still running, and he's like, "Hey!"
Yeah, that was a yeah. See, that was when I was part of the his character arc in the development of him
hmm
maturing and realizing that if he puts a little more effort into it, that he can do things on his own.
Oh yeah, and I also like he's like, "I'm alive!" Hey, hey! Oh, oh, he accidentally. All the heroes have their learning curves, especially the kids.
Uh
Also,
huh.
Helen, when she's in the base looking for Bob, she passes by a mirror and she realizes she's put on a little bit by the hips. And she's
Yep.
like, oh, but it's those little realistic moments that even the directors during the audio commentary actually talk about. It's like, these are the small things that we wanted to put in here to kind of add a little bit of realism to it.
And it worked. It
Mm-hmm.
worked for me big time. It really did because you could see those details, and each time you watch it, you see something you didn't see before,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it makes you even like it more. I mean, I was just really surprised how much better it was because there was so much detail in there that
Yep.
when you're first watching it, it goes you miss some of it because you're so intrigued and trying to learn the story and paying attention to the difference stuff that's going on in the scene, and the graphics are great. I mean, it's just overall phenomenal for its time, in 2004. But it was just really, really good, and they just did such a good job, and you could tell with the detail that they used in every aspect of almost every scene. It was really
Elizabeth.
good.
Oh my god, the actress who played Mirage, the white-haired lady,
Uh huh.
Elizabeth Payne, I forgot that she passed away 10 years after the movie was done.
Oh,
Or yeah, it was 2014 she passed away.
no, I
But
didn't. I wasn't, following it that way, but
yeah,
that's
she
sad.
played or she was also in Criminal Minds and a couple other shows too that I used to watch and I was like, "Oh crap, she passed." But she died of cirrhosis. But anyway, I also like when she or after the plane gets hit with the kids on,
Yeah,
and she realizes it's like Syndrome didn't care, and so when Bob reacts violently and grabs her and is bluffing, essentially, he's like, "I'm willing to, or I will crush her. Show me." And he isn't able to do it. Well, Mirage didn't like that, so she's like, "Next time you gamble, bet your own life."
yeah.
And
Well,
I
see,
love
she had a
how,
character arc too. She went from a villain to basically an anti-hero, whatever you wanna call
or
it,
well, she
because
completely flipped because she realized that Syndrome was nuts, and
well,
he
she
wasn't.
realized that he was selfish and self-centered, and he really didn't really care about her. It
Yeah.
wasn't s j she already knew he was a villain because of the other things that he'd already done, and she'd worked with him. So,
hmm
you assume that she knew he was doing some of these things that were underhanded, but that wasn't, bad enough. Little petty crimes and,
Yeah.
money and stuff like
Killing the
that wasn't
supers
so bad.
and
Yeah, but
whatnot.
once she saw that he was willing to kill a child, and then her, she realized that, he wasn't who she thought he was, that he didn't
Yeah.
love her or care about her the way that she thought he did, and the way that he would talk to her beforehand to get her to do what he needed done for her to do for him, that he was using her basically.
hmm
So that was a good character arc for her, and I like that because you want to root for the good guy,
Oh yeah.
and she became one of them.
Yep. And one of the things I like is that she completely turns and she helps him.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
And also,
because they couldn't have done it without her.
no, they
That's what
couldn't have
made her
got the
character
rocket
very important.
because a rocket with the newer, updated robot is sent to a city, and he's like, the machine or the robot will emerge and toss some screaming people, and then I'll show up and I'll save the day. He's like, you killed real supers just to pretend so you could pretend to be super? Oh, I'm a super, and when I get old, I'll sell my inventions so everybody can be super. And when everybody's super, nobody will be. Now, that actually is a mirror to a line earlier in the film when Dash is talking back to his mom, he's like, or she's like, everybody's special, Dash, which is another way of saying nobody is. And that is another nice little thing that they kind of or put in this movie, because Dash is he's very sure of himself. He's very cocky. He could have easily turned if Syndrome got his hands on him first. I mean, he could have turned it or Dash against his parents because of how cocky he is and whatnot. However, that thankfully that never happened. But I also like how they start work, or when they have to go into the city to stop the robot, Parr wants to do it by himself, or Bob wants to do it by himself, and she talks at him, and she's like, "What is this, a workout for you?" He's like, "No, I'm not strong enough." And he's like, "So what? Or this is just some sort of workout? I can't lose you again," because we saw how broke he was earlier in the film when he thought his family had died. He was fully ready to kill Mirage.
Yeah, he was ready. He was ready to fight till the death because he had nothing left to live for.
Yeah, and when she came in to help him, he picks her up and he's ready to just snap her neck. Except she managed to get the message. It's like, your family survived. They're here on the island. And then that's when his wife catches him.
Well, see, that too is what part of the thing that made the movie really enjoyable and on the edge of your seat, because they brought you right up until it was almost too late, you know, for things to happen, just like in a really good action movie.
They make you, they give the suspense.
Yeah, the suspense just goes up and up and up, and you think that this is going to happen. It ends up something different, but you're thinking of the scenarios that's about to happen, and you get that because the movie is pushing you in that direction, just like a regular action movie, which is one of the reasons why I think it was so good, considering it wasn't. It was a cartoon, but you're not looking at it like that while you're in it, because you're involved in all the characters, wanting them all to be successful. And I thought that was just I just thought they were geniuses at it.
Oh yeah, they really did the movie. It is very hard to find a problem. You would actually have to look up on like moviemistakes.com. Is there any mistakes for The Incredibles? Because honestly, you don't see much, because this movie is that entertaining. And fighting the robot and Syndrome, or you see how the robot can learn, and it's like, okay, this thing, or this new threat is able to pop off my arms. Oh, okay, that's the cause of it. Bam! It turns on him even, and overcomes him, and then he gets knocked out. And then when the Incredibles save the day, he's like, "No!"
Yeah, the Omni Droid shot the remote control off his wrist.
Yeah,
and it knocked him unconscious. So, and that's basically, it showed the difference between
somebody pretending
that
and a real hero.
Because he was human and he was using his gift of, genius of being smart and be able to make these gadgets and stuff, and because he was using it 100% for revenge and not and letting revenge cloud him, he wasn't able to see past the damages that he could possibly cause in the world with some of the things that he was creating, because he wasn't thinking past that. All he could think of was getting rid of what he felt was the reason why his life was ruined. Okay.
Yeah.
And the superheroes, even though they had superpowers, they didn't use their powers for evil. At least most of them. They were all good. I mean, they just wanted to be able to live their life and use their powers and be themselves, basically. So that was the difference. And Syndrome just couldn't deal with it. I mean, he just could not. His whole life, in those 10 years or whatever it was, 10 or 15 years that went by, he just could not. That's all he dwelled on. You could tell day and night. That's all he thought about was, I got to make this, I got to do this, and I'm going to start getting rid of these people. And then you start seeing all these people just disappearing, the exes, the superheroes were just coming, being taken out one by one. Now, a child watching this movie is not going to understand that, but the grown-ups with the kids are going, "Oh my gosh, this guy's he's got a hit list," basically, you know?
Hmm.
So, but they did a really good job at, keeping the adults intrigued throughout the movie due to the good storylines, and the plot was really, really good, and,
Yeah.
it draws you in and you want to see them be successful, but they do make it the suspense is just phenomenal, I thought.
Oh yeah. And then we get to they're going home after finally defeating the robot, and the government's now on Syndrome's tail, but or mom's listening to her messages and thank you for sending a replacement setter. I didn't call a replacement, honey. And I love how they show the family, like right behind the family, the camera is, and they get
Yeah.
in and bam, Syndrome's there.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, now the stakes have seriously gotten insane because you see how much Helen starts panicking after Syndrome throws him aside and then starts to try to escape. It's like, we got to do something, Bob. We got to do something right now. What are we going to do? And well, Jack starts going insane.
Well, the what was cute about the whole thing with the baby is up until then, mommy has basically filled all his needs. She's
Yep.
always there feeding him, giving him a cookie, all the little things that he wanted, changing his diaper and all that. And he has a character arc on that scene because he realizes he could tell this guy is not nice. He's a mean
Mm-hmm.
guy. And so because whatever it is in him, his fear or his anger towards this mean guy, knowing he's doing something mean because he's scaring his mommy, basically.
Yep.
His powers start popping out, the different things.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was cute because he's evolving as a
Yep.
toddler. Because each month, I don't know if you know that many toddlers or whatever have been around that many of them. Is that
Oh, I have.
yeah, each month there's something different. They're babbling this, or they might say dad, or might say mama or whatever, and they're able to use their hands better at stacking cups or just little things that other people would look and go, oh, boring. But a parent seeing what their child's able to do, they notice. They notice that, oh my gosh, they're doing this, or they're crawling, now they're walking, or they're trying to take the first step. It's an evolving thing through the first year of a child being around. So Jack gets to have that whole character arc for himself, even though it isn't exactly a thought process that we would understand because we're already past that age. But for him being a toddler, he just knows that something's not good and that he's got to get rid of this guy or get away from him. And
Yep.
and all of a sudden, bing bong boom, he's got all this stuff going on, which I loved. My favorite part of it was when he became a lead weight.
Yeah. He turns
I
into a
just
lead
thought that
weight.
was
I was like,
so
oh my
funny.
God. That
I
was funny.
laughed and laughed. I forgot how funny this was because I laughed a lot throughout this whole movie. It was just some really good comic relief, great lines, just a lot of things it was a happy movie, even though it was intense. It had a lot of intrigue. It had, love, a little bit of romance, new love, new romance,
Yeah.
first time. Uh, it was just, I just loved it. I can't go on enough about it. It is so well made and it's so interesting. I don't know anyone. I haven't met a single person that has watched it. Now I've met a lot of people that haven't watched it, but anyone that I know that has watched this movie thought it was good. So
Mm-hmm.
if you can just get out there and go see it, if you haven't, I think it's a gem that you need to take out the time to sit down and watch it. It's definitely worth it.
Pixar yes, this is one of Pixar's finest, in my
Well,
opinion.
they made some really good stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
if you look back at them, they made what was it? A Bug's Life,
Yep. Bugs Life, Toy
Finding
Story
Nemo.
movies.
They made
Yep.
Finding Nemo, right? And
Yes.
then Toy Story. I mean, gosh, they have a really good team to be able to have that many movies, one after the other, that is good. Not just making money, but entertaining to where people would want to go see it more than once, which makes a
Mm-hmm.
movie more successful, and to actually buy shirts, dolls, other stuff where they're going to make, the merchandise wise, they're going to make some money, and the DVD because they're going to watch it again with their
Yep.
friends or with someone else. That it shows it's successful because who's going to go buy a movie that they couldn't even choke down? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? When they're at
Exactly.
the theater or they get up and leave or they fall asleep during it, they're not going to run out and buy a T-shirt with it on it or go out and buy a DVD. So
Nope.
overall, they're losing money. But so when you make something that's entertaining, it offers so many touch points all the way through the whole movie for different people. I mean, in every scene, there was something for the kids or something for the adults, something for the kids, something for that, like that. It just went on and on like that through the whole movie. So it was genius. I mean, and if you think about Finding Nemo and you think of A Bug's Life and Monsters, some of the other stuff they've done, they did the same thing so that they keep that chemistry. I think that they could be around for a very long time. They
Indeed.
keep making quality movies, except for this last one. I can't
Yeah.
brag about it, but anybody should go see this movie because it is really, really worth your time to watch it, and watch it with your nieces and nephews or your children or your
Oh yeah.
grandchildren. Because you can, this is something you can actually sit down with them and watch it. And you don't have to explain some different things after the movie's over because, oh, this is that and this is that. And oh, yeah, they did that. You don't have all those questions because you don't have to. It's not one of those movies that's going to cause a kid to, need an encyclopedia to answer some questions
I know, right?
after the movie's over.
It
But
was
yeah,
simple and it was great at the same time. It was simple
it-
and complex too.
yeah, it was complex because there was so many different things going on all the time with the different characters. It was so entertaining, but it kept you intrigued. You couldn't wait to the next scene. And then
Yep.
when the scene started, you were already thinking, "What's this? Is it this going to happen, or is that going to happen?" You're already thinking ahead, about what's going to happen, just like you would in like a James Bond movie or one of those other action movies. You're thinking about, like what are they going to do? How are they going to get out of this? That
Yep.
thing, and because you actually cared. That's
Yeah.
the big special thing is that we actually cared as you're watching the movie about the characters. Even the what was her name again? The
Mirage.
one, yeah, Mirage, even her. Okay. At first you don't like her. You're like, oh, what a, I don't want to say a dirty word, but
Oh, that's allowed
you're
here.
okay, but you're thinking about it. You're going, what a
Yeah.
bitch, is
Yeah.
what you're thinking. And then next thing you know, you're like, yes, yes, you're rooting for them and you want to see them be successful. So it works. I mean, they did great. All the people
Mm-hmm.
involved did a great job on all of it, even the editing people, which I've seen so many good movies just end up on the editing room floor, and it ruined it. It took out so much
Yeah.
good things that were important, even if it's only a few seconds. A look or a smile or an action with their hand holding the gun properly or whatever different, or making the cup look like it's actually got a drink in it. Just simple things that editing can do to make a more believable, scene or, overall movie. Even the music, if you have so many pitchy spots in a scene with the music going up and down and, not flowing through the scene properly, it takes away from the scene. So, all of it has something to do with it. And that's why editing to me is very important.
Yep.
A lot of people don't even think about that kind of stuff, but
So
it
we
is.
are almost, or you said you needed to get to Drew's at 6:15 or
Yeah, hold on.
5:15?
Let me see if I got anything from him real quick on my. I haven't looked, but on Twitter, I'm gonna see if he sent me a message.
But yes, folks, we are going to start winding down because she has other prior engagements
Yeah, I'm
from
sorry,
Super
but
Homewrecker to, it's okay.
yeah. So,
Superhero. Yeah.
but yeah, this was a good movie, and I do recommend if you haven't seen it to please take out just a few hours of your life and sit down and watch it. You'll be happy you did because it is a good movie. Very
And
good.
then we get the sequel like 10 years later
Yeah.
or
And
like
it's just as good.
12.
I mean, I still like the first one myself personally better, and I
Hmm.
have friends that like the second one better, but because of Jack's character arc. But
Yeah.
to me, something about the whole arc of the boring lifestyle, because they're forced into seclusion, basically away from what their heyday of their life. To me, every person that has a job, relationship, relatives or whatever, kids, would
Yeah.
understand that whole concept of the beginning and to come into these characters. And that is one of the things that I really liked about it, is because they made it believable for everyone that watched it.
Yeah.
Somehow you got touched because you had a kid like that, or you had a boss like that, or you had, something, a car like that, or you felt like that he felt when he came home that day. So,
Yeah.
so I don't know. I just really loved it, and I hope that everybody that's gets to watch this video decides, hey, I'm gonna go rent it or buy it or download it or whatever now, however you
Yeah.
get it, and get to watch it and see whether or not they come back and comment on your YouTube channel and say, hey, that movie was really good, and thank you for letting us bringing it to our attention or whatever, because it is a good movie and it's worth it.
All righty. So is there any things you want to plug, like YouTube or anything?
Well, if they want, they can come by and see me at Janet from Another Planet here on YouTube. I only make shorts. I'm not like some of these other channels. Now, I have started reading my book. I wrote a book called Revelation. It's about vampires, witches, warlocks, and archangels and familiars.
Nice.
Very interactive and everything. But I started reading it out loud. But I only
Yeah.
do my videos. I don't want anything to be over 15 minutes long, because I don't want to bore anyone or have them fall asleep or miss certain things that's going to happen in the story. So I decided to read it in small, like bite-sized pieces, put it that way. So if you want to check those out, you just come to my channel and check it out. And
Mhm.
I also do Monday nights. I go on Bruce Lombardi's of Dick's Division's channel, and we do movie reviews over there and Monday night. And then on Tuesday night, usually it's on Tuesday night, I'm on the United Resistance. I'm on a panel with Drew and the rest of the guys. And we talk about, things that are going on in politics and conspiracy theories, things like that.
Yeah.
So if you want to join us for that, and that's where I'm going to be doing tonight, because we had to schedule it tonight instead of last night,
Yeah.
which messed up a few things. But I'm so glad I got to come on and do this with you. It was fun.
Thank you so much for coming on and choosing a good movie.
Yeah, it was a good movie. It really was. I really loved it. And it's not very often, because on our movie review at night, it's usually like grown up point of view type of things that we
Yeah.
discuss. So it's nice to be able to talk about something that's more family, down to earth, where you can take your kid and sit down and not go, oh, cover your eyes,
I know, right?
that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
it was good. I mean, I definitely wouldn't take them to see the Beavis and Butthead movie or
Oh my
South
gosh,
Park
no.
the movie. I couldn't believe how many people were in line with their kids. I'm like, you're taking your kid to see this?
Beavis and Butthead? Are you out of your
Yeah.
mind?
Yeah, so it's like, I don't know. I don't understand parents. It's just funny. But but
Yep, this is where you can find her in the next few minutes, folks.
oh
She's
yeah,
gonna be on
yeah,
Drew's channel, Supreme Heretic. Drew is a brother of mine, folks.
yeah,
He's
he is
awesome.
awesome. I just adore Drew. He's a sweetheart.
I'm gonna actually see if he can or wants to come on to here for a guest choice review. Wonder
I
what
bet he
movie he'll
will.
choose. Pretty sure he will.
I bet he will.
But anyway, folks,
But thank you for coming and hanging out with us for a little while. I appreciate it.
thank you indeed. And hey, Cameron Ryder, you're catching this right on the ass end of it, buddy. But still, thank you for coming in. Anyway, folks, if you want to be part of a guest choice review, you get to, or let me know. I'm going to be on Minds, Getter, even look me up on Facebook and Discord as well. And you can choose the movie, you can choose the time, you can choose the date. And I just choose the place, which is my channel. But thank you so much for coming on in, Janet. You all know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all that jazz. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. What did you think of The Incredibles and The Incredibles 2? Did you like them? Did you not? Favorite scenes? All that stuff, folks. Anyway, this has been Orange Hat Reviews and Janet from another planet. Have a wonderful night. And always remember to stay humble.